UK is one of the most indebted nations in the world. It's just always been able to rely on this whole idea of empire status. UK punches well above its weight because of its history. I mean, its economy is, it's like smaller than Malaysia and Indonesia. There's 1,000 countries in the world that have bigger, more stronger. Brazil, for example, certainly has a much bigger economy than UK, but UK sort of carries prime importance in FX simply because of the empire status. And the other aspect, of course, for UK that's very, very negative is the fact that they chose to leave the empire, because the empire these days is really the European Union, and they chose to leave that empire via Brexit. And essentially, the big talk when Brexit was happening was people were saying, look, United Kingdom is going to go from being United Kingdom to being Little England. And it was a facetious and kind of a cruel thing to say, but it's really becoming true historically. So that's it's a very serious problem. And all of that leads me to believe that parity is probably inevitable. Like, I think people smell blood here. This was a clear flash crash that sort of tested the lows here. It's very likely maybe we'll have a couple of consolidation days. Maybe we'll even test the 110 at this point. But if we do test the 110, it's probably going to be an excellent area to sell rather than to buy, because inevitably, I think at very minimum, we test the lows. But I think it's very feasible that we go to parity, which is going to be shocking to everybody, but probably not until we get to that point is there going to be any kind of a true bottom in cable for the near term. So, cable is a very big story with essentially sell the rally type of a momentum as far as we go forward. As part of the strength of the dollar, you also saw the euro really, really come down. And one of the things that I talked about in my kind of monthly forecast is I thought, FX markets go to extremes. It's very likely euro kind of tests 95. I think they do. I mean, they sort of tested this 95 level, but I think this is an area where you will get a modicum of support. So overall, to me, the trade that we talked about originally, which was the euro pound trade, right, which had this massive vertical move and now it's just coming back down. I still think on a longer term basis, this is the trade that's probably going to work relatively well. In other words, I think we could see 92, 93 in euro pound as we go forward. The other trade that's interesting that we talked about was pound Swiss, which may be even a better trade, simply because, of course, the Swiss the Swiss economy is much stronger than the UK economy on so many levels. A lot of all of this is certainly going to be effectively. It's really going to be a pound story, and none of these currencies are going to grossly outperform against pounds because pound is so volatile. But regardless of, I probably would actually, frankly, if I wanted to have the strongest with the weakest, would probably keep myself in a pound Swiss trade with a pound Swiss sort of, the 110 as the absolute, where would I be wrong on the pound Swiss story? At around 110. Does the pound Swiss have a chance to go down to parity? Absolutely. I think if pound goes to parity, pound Swiss goes to parity. So it's sort of a similar type of a story. We're mid-range from these 2 points of contention. But any kind of a weakness on the hourly chart, the 4-hour chart, is going to invite my shorts here at these levels, because I think this selling in the pound is not done. I mean, this was obviously panic selling, flush selling, but typically when you have these kind of flush moves, there's continuity 2 or 3 weeks down the road. So you have to just be sort of very, very patient and wait for that continuity to take place.